Hello again. We are still catching my breath from last time. It's been like an hour or two since I read Volume 1. I don't know. We are now going to read Volume 2. To make sure I don't die from being out of breath, I have this giant glass of water. It's not even a glass. It's like some container. Oh yeah. Also, something I didn't show. I originally had this background set up for the game, and it looked like this. It's the background I used when I played my own game, but you know, I won't be using that because it's a full screen game. I still think it was pretty cool though, even just the background and me adding a Cecily sprite on it. Yeah. Anyway, let us proceed. Volume 2 of Business and Busywork. A theft has occurred in the northern wastes. Stolen, a filter of the Vivifier's blood, said to have supernatural properties. In charge of the investigation? Yourself. You have your orders and you have a case to solve. You think you should start close to home. Known quantities. You've got 2 candidates in mind to interview first. You choose... So the next volumes are not like the first one. So it's not just one volume, it's 2 separate routes. You can do them in either order, though I always do left to right. So we have Rypike Koldan and Sirage Feltree, both made by Zam. We will go... Well, alright, obviously I'm going to start with Rypike. I love Rypike. Rypike Koldan, a simple enough start, you feel. You're not one for pulling a metaphorical hamstring, and you still have a day before you'll be heading to Idolic Acres. Can't waste time. It feels good to be hunting for a squeak beast after so long. You really feel your vicious Verminator senses shed turquoise tears of joy. What a confusing portmanteau. You're not quite sure if the latter half of the Verminator's wordology is Terminator or Exterminator. Perhaps you could claim it's a portmanteau. There weren't any particularly interesting details attached to Koldan's name, but regardless, you'll pay him a visit. His ties to Scorp would potentially give him access to deadly secrets. More like she, if you've read Volume 10. Once you arrive, security is perfectly apathetic and nonchalantly allows you inside once you flash your credentials. You spare half a thought wondering what he thinks you're doing here, but you ignore it in favour of giving Rypike's Trollodex card another glance as you enter the elevator. Probably wait till you meet him. As luck would have it, when the doors open to a chorus of keyboards clacking like mechanical chirp bugs, your eyes drift from the card to the man himself. You examine him from across the room. Hello. So yeah, I think the volume was still a bit too loud last time, so I've made it a bit quieter. I don't know if that's just for me. Oh, Rypike's theme's a banger. There's some fucking bangers in this soundtrack. Just wait till we get to, I think it's volume 6? Yeah. He appears to be talking to a co-worker. Judging from the frantic motions of his hands, he's explaining something. Something big. This guy has always been one for animated gestures. Recall, Rypike Koldan. Oh look, he's got the belt. Same colour belt as his mate Sprit. This isn't the first time you've seen his face, but it's not really much more than the 4th. Never forget a face, but if you did, his would be off the table. He makes a strong impression, especially in the conference room you first saw him in. He had ideas for Scorp themes, a relatively new concept, especially considering you first heard of the app a few days prior. His arms would move about, not unlike a cartoon character. The glow of his projector made his white teeth blinding. His smile almost looked fake from how real it looked. Oh, it's real. There were themes for each department of the company. You remember rolling your eyes as you started with the accountants, loyal logarithms, or the security guards, ostentatious oculars, serious sass, secretary serenade. He'd mentioned that one in particular was for the lovely lass at the front desk, who evidently had a habit of doodling hearts onto her work papers when she was bored. When you looked to your left, you saw that exact secretary, face buried in her hands in mild embarrassment. Not exactly secret with dire consequences, you'd think, but also you didn't care. Come on, Cecily. Perhaps the strongest quality he has is his voice. Deep but not rumbly, like black honey. It demands attention. That's not the voice I used to give him. I don't know what voice I'm going to give him. You could further recall moments spent in the ablution trap with the patent-pending inspo nuggets intermission of the meeting in your mind's radio, but we try not to layer recalls like that. What the frick? Perhaps you should do a recollection outside of the timed automatic doors next time. With a mental sigh, you open the doors again. Let's go. You step out of the elevator and into the office. No time for games, you wait for the first sign of a break in his conversation and approach him. You clear your throat and give him a curt nod as he turns towards you with a look of surprise on his face. Oh, I need to clear my throat, alright. I'm already losing breath. Right by Coldan. My name is... Whoops, I didn't see you there. Maybe I'll do a Kronk voice. Whoops, didn't see you there. I'm not doing... No, I can't do a Kronk voice, or Brock, or Sal, or any of the... Oh. The way he reaches over to shake your hand with both his catches you off guard. Yeah. He reminds you unkindly of those old greeting machines used at corporate convenienceries that would come to life at the press of a button. Creepy bastards. Thank goodness they've started using people in costumes for that instead of robots. You appreciate a personal touch. Okay, move my... I just did a drawing. I'm gonna move that. Voice. Okay, so it's deep. I never gave him a deep voice. I gave him quite a high... not high. Guilty as charged. Right by Coldan, but it looks like you already knew that. Guess my reputation precedes me. I love Ripite, he's so cool. He's good. He's clearly waiting for something. A laugh, you assume. Unfortunately, he flops, as the Chuckle Bunker regulars say. My name is Cecily Iopara, and I'm currently conducting an investigation of grave importance. I'd appreciate any time you have to spare for some questions. You like getting to the point. Oftentimes, the point means the point of your blade, and you can never turn down a chance to dance with blades. If only the chances ever came. We are not... Ripite's face seems to be somewhat frozen on a smile. He looks confused more than anything. Being questioned isn't exactly a difficult concept to wrap your head around, in your opinion. Wow, you want to talk to me? It's more believable than me asking this of your colleague over here. Although I'm not presently engaging in your conversation. Yes, you. The seal behind him is definitely finding his work very interesting right now. In an instant, his nose is buried in his computer monitor. He's smart, not looking like he's clearly eavesdropping. Still, you'd prefer some places more private. If you have to spend the conversation counting his nervous tics and fidgets, you'll go mad. Perhaps if we could relocate this somewhere else. I wouldn't wish to disturb anybody's work. I'd hate to make you look bad. Oh, Cecily. Of course, I'm happy to get a move on. It's as I always say, there's a time and place for all of us, don't you know? You give the worker behind him a curious glance, and his confused expression tells you that he's literally never said that before. Oh. Whatever. Your eye has also caught a nameplate next to a door across their office space, and it's a name that was just used in an awful pun by its owner mere seconds ago. Is that your office over there? I see that would be a good place. If you wouldn't mind, of course. Not at all, not at all. Come on, it's this way. I'm so bad at reading. I used to think I was good at reading, but apparently not. He's leading you to the clearly labelled room that you pointed out. Your hero. You spend the short trek re-examining the evidence, sifting through your mental documents and familiarising yourself with the important facts. Oh, nice room, buddy. Yeah, there's a lot to look at here. Oh look, I see that picture of you in Haiyan. Oh. When he lets you in, you're taken aback from how personalised the room looks. Feels like it could only be his, and you barely even know him. Your mind works fast to find the theme of the miscellaneous junk spread across the room. You see a joke book, a calendar of every day marked, a miniature ray gun model. Arms hoarder? Doesn't seem like the type. That microphone making itself comfortable on the desk catches your eye. You record something, apparently. Rabbi seems just as surprised as you, and he rushes to tidy his desk up. You give a whiteboard nearby a glance. Based on the doodled alien head spouting inspirational slogans, someone's got space on the mind. You could call him a rogue of space. Your least favourite is the three-eyed alien telling you to reach for the stars. A little on the nose. So sorry, I forgot I was having a synapse squall in here. Taking a gander at my design work, we were working on a brand new Scorp theme, Celestial Crossroads. Did you know that in From Repton to a Moon, the author's rough calculations on the requirements for the cannon able to launch 3 people into space were remarkably accurate? Fascinating, isn't it? His cannon still wasn't practical, but it was quite a commendable attempt. So yeah, this guy also Ripite's typing quirk is that he types in bold and capitalizes a lot of words, or the start of words. We can talk trivia later. Take a seat, Mr. Coldan. You're not sure why you see Ripite grabbing for his seat, but you can tell that he's doing his best to try and lighten the mood. Where do you want me to put... That wasn't in bold. Oh my god. Your cold stare pisses through him like a hot knife through buttery cliches. You're not in the market for a lightened mood. Oh. Right. The few inches he's lifted his seat off the floor are reversed, and he lets out a fake cough before sitting down. Right, investigation. I'm not really sure what you need from me, but I'm an open book. But first I have a question for you, Mr. Yapara. For me, you say? I was under the impression that I was questioning you. He nods enthusiastically and doesn't wait for confirmation before he dives right in. You seem quite tired. If you had enough soda, I've got a spare cushion lying around if you want to take a snooze cruise. Your business can wait, I'm sure. Self-care first. Is he trying to change the subject? I've had a sufficient amount of sustenance, thank you. I would like to have the reins of the conversation again, Mr. Coldan. He raises his hands a little bashfully, and though he's smiling, there's a slight sorrow to it, like he knows that was perhaps his last chance for a light-hearted conversation. Come on, Cecily, he's trying his best. Right, all yours. My hands are off. I'm nudging them in your direction, and please, call me Ripon. May I call you Cecily? No. Oh, got a stitch. Jeez. With the investigation properly underway, you retrieve a folder that might help contextualize the situation slightly. For him, you mean. You've already read this document a significant number of times. Once. Recently in Northern Wastes, there was an armoured truck that was intercepted en route to deliver some very particular goods back to corporate. In particular, a valuable package was stolen. I'll spare the details in case he turns out to be a blabbermouth. He doesn't sound like he has much of a filter, even if he could be wrong. It was an unscheduled transport, so the culprit must have ties to corporate. Would you happen to know anything of this operation, before or after the fact? Is there talk of any Arctic antics in your area of the corporate ladder? The look on Ripite's face is one of slight concern, and while you're trying to figure out whether it's genuine worry or just a cover-up, he gives you a response. Yeah, that's an updated sprite, I'm pretty sure. Because its sprites used to be different, but they've all been updated. I can't say I've heard of this, but that certainly sounds kind of dangerous. Is everybody okay? Yes, you almost say in the most disappointed voice you could muster. The armoured truck full of priceless assets was intercepted and nothing happened. They had to pay a fee for crossing the bridge, draw straws to see who'd be stuck by being the driver, sing an obnoxious, repeating song the whole trip home. 3 employees died, 2 armed guards and the driver. You start to lose faith in the idea that he'll be any help to you because he's getting teary-eyed over 3 complete and total strangers he didn't know existed until tonight. Golly, those poor souls. They were only there doing their jobs, fixing that truck. That poor driver, trying so hard to drive so far. It didn't even matter in the end, your mind whispers to itself, but you let him grieve for a few more seconds. And that truck, having to endure the harsh cold, I hope its driver loved it and cherished it. And that package, it must feel so scared and lost in the hands of who knows who. Okay, I could probably do a better voice, but I can't really think of one. I don't want to, go through a bunch of voices, that'd be a pain. Are you absolutely sure there's nothing you know about this truck, Mr. Coldan? I find it difficult to believe that you have 0 ties with this incident. Gosh, I'd love to help. I really would. But I don't know what ties I could possibly have. I mean, I wear a tie, if that's any good. I could maybe toss you one as well, if you'd like. I'm positive you'd really pull it off. You're not just unsure if he's the culprit, but you're downright rooting against it. Please let there be a better antagonist to chase. Unless it's all a ruse. It's not a ruse. You have a way to know for sure, and that method is the rest of this interrogation. There is something I'm looking to tie up, and it's all the loose ends of this case. Yeah, you think, what a badass comeback. Ripite looks positively stunned at your sense of professionalism. Tell me this, why do you think I'm here, questioning someone who seems to know nothing about this case? There must be an obvious connection you have for me to be spending my time here. You don't want him to talk about ties again, because he looks like he's about to invite you to the company clothes shopping field trip as a bonding exercise. Instead, you give a brisk nod of your head to his whiteboard. Consider, your work for Scorp. It's the only relevant chat client around. Information is your deal, is it not? Especially with a battleground devoid of competitors. Sure is. After all, if you've got information, you've got victory, as a great man once said. That's been my motto for forever. He's looking very confident for a solid 3 seconds before it all crumbles like a house of cards in the endless void of uncertainty. Or was it you can't spell victory without information? You can't get information without giving victory. That was it. I'm sure of it. Funny you should mention giving victory. I've got some questions to ask you about how this information may have been leaked. I have reason to believe that you and this entire company could be involved, and if you really want to help me out, you'll answer some questions. Though he looks alarmed, either you've made a crack in the case or he's just very paranoid, he doesn't seem to be panicking. Well, I'd be a bit of a dummy if I didn't try to clear my company's name, wouldn't I? Please, ask me anything. And you're off. First about Scorp. It's the most logical question considering you're dealing with someone, somehow knowing something, like all crafts committed by people who are awake. Scorp is all about information. You intend to find out who your info was passed to on an outside party. Scorp, more like... Actually, never mind. Scorp just blew up out of nowhere, didn't it? Hadn't heard a thing about it until it was subtly swallowing its predecessor with an unhinged jaw. Rushing headfirst into the new thing seems to be a theme about Scorp. Pouring time and energy into a broken concept. Classic. Textbook, as a matter of fact. I imagine you're quite proud of yourself being so high up the corporate ladder. Last I checked, it ranks number 1 on my list of favourite things. Yeah. Your eyebrows quirk up at such a strange notion. You're perfectly capable of keeping up appearances, but number 1? That's impressively high ranked. If there were a collection of high ranks, that would be the highest. There would be no end to the elevation of that one rank. I need a drink. You would literally not believe the size of this glass. I have to pick it up with 2 hands. You're quite fortunate. Not everybody can speak so highly of their jobs. Most people would reserve that spot for the loved ones or particularly tasty foods. Well, it's tied with my soulmates too, and my friends. Oh, and my losers too, can't forget him. Also, have you seen Space? That's up there also. Not personally, no. I know Wormill has. Okay, there are a few ways he could have been involved, being the centre of the information highway, while being close to people like Sestro. You can approach this a few ways. Really though, you have wasted enough time, and you would really like to hurry this up. I'm going to have to ask you to show me your Scorp logs. As someone so closely involved in the inner workings of Scorp, I have to make sure everybody's clean. You understand, don't you? If you're clean, you'll have nothing to worry about. The fact that he looks visibly worried almost makes you smile. You're absolutely positively didn't do the actual deed himself, but it's certainly possible he had a hand in this. I'm getting lines mixed up. Sure, alright. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. No secrets between friends. There is no time in moving behind his desk as he logs back in. At least he isn't putting up a fight, even if you could easily do this yourself by force. Pardon me. You can plainly see his password scribbled on a post-it note stuck in the computer monitor. It's "Let me in." Come on, at least I actually have the upright decency to think of a password, or like 2, that I use for every account. His Scorp account has a different password, but considering it's 13 characters long, you're willing to bet it's a combination of "Let me in" and Scorp. Yep, that too is on the password note. Alright, here's the old radio station. Have at it. You don't bother to take a seat. You're not going to leave yourself that defenseless. You keep a close eye on him in your peripheral vision, like a paranoid vulture. He could jump any time. He is apparently a big fan of Sirage felt tree because her name and image are plastered all over his Scorp theme. There are also many hearts and lovey-dovey photos of the two together. You can't refrain from telling him that you're close to throwing up in your mouth just a little bit. Come on, Cecily. You did see that your soulmates were ranked at number 1 as well, didn't you? I can certainly see there's some merit to this claim. Commission this little number from the coding department. Those guys are just on the ball, huh? The ball seems to be rolling through sludge because his system lags like it's diseased. You spend a few minutes snooping around his messages. Checking back on your little lead, it doesn't look like he's too concerned. A lot of it is legitimate talk of deadlines and ideas of encouragement. And also him bouncing joke he clearly got from the internet off of his co-workers. Priority 1, search his contacts. You don't understand why Scorp doesn't let you see the names attached to their troll tags, but you know that Sestro has a very memorable shade of purple. After a brief search, you found the Ash troll tag, but... Do you and Sestro have any chat history at all? There's nothing but an unaccepted friend request here. I wish. Man, what I wouldn't give to meet him and befriend him. I'm sure he gives fantastic handshakes, can you imagine? I can't not respect a guy with such clear visions. It's alright, I'm sure it just got lost in the mail or something. Oh. Well, you're not going to move on and try to snoop too much into the wrong, terribly depressing thing. With a lot of power comes a lot of rationality. That's a saying, right? You keep scrolling through his contacts, but you can't find anybody giving him orders of any kind. At this rate, you could guess he couldn't have gotten information from anybody important because he doesn't know anybody important. Your search ends at the top of his list, and when you're about to investigate Sagacious Mediator, he gets a little antsy. This is Sirage, I take it. The one and only, the best and only Sirage there is and ever should be. With a click of a mouse, you're in, and boy do you enjoy the smell of suspicion in the evening. The latest conversation is particularly interesting. Rise and shine, sweetie, it's almost go time. Meet me in the break room to go over the details. Whatever you say, Smoochy Smooch. Can't wait to know what you've been dying to tell me. It's a big one, promise. You won't regret this. on, Cecily, stop. You don't know how to feel about the fact that Right Pipe wasn't the only one to say smoochy smoosh, but more importantly... Oh, that progress bar's getting a bit high. Time to state this conversation less than 24 hours before the crime. Anything to say, Mr. Coldan? You expect to grill him insistently over the course of the next few hours, but he looks ready to burst already. Okay, you got me, I'll talk. My Grublin and I might have been a little late back from our breaks recently. I've been giving her... leaked information? Pep talks. That's your big lead. Right Pipe's a cheerleader, and he's giving you a headache instead of an L, an E, an A, an A, and a D. Yeah, work's been stressing her out, so we meet up in a secret spot and I give her encouragement. But we only do it during work, because that's when she needs it most. You slump back in your seat and try to keep your bitter thoughts to yourself. It's a real piece of work despite doing nothing noteworthy at all. Am I in trouble? I'll look the other way. Oh, my laugh sounds so creepy. I'm sorry. At the notion of being let off the hook, he seems to perk right back up like nothing happened. He's even that little episode behind, looks like. Question microphone. He wants to dial it back a bit. Make sure he doesn't get too overwhelmed. This is only a baseless assumption regardless, but you leave no stone unturned. Pardon me. He likely speaks out about some things and could easily have blabbed about something. You doubt it's here for show and show alone, considering it takes up a fair amount of limited desk space. Okay, I'm going to take another break after I do. Right, by his volume, I'll do Sirage, in like half an hour, I'd say. Leaning over, you gently tap the base of his microphone and raise an eyebrow. Last I checked, Scorp doesn't come with a radio feature. What's this then? I don't have an intercom system rigged up either. Before answering, Right Pipe apparently sees it necessary to grab one of his post-it notes and pen from his jar of writing utensils. What are you doing? Writing down a note to self. Dear Right Pipe, consider a radio theme. You have the means, so make some schemes. You really doubt it was necessary to include that last sentence, but okay. Cecily, just let him. He's not hurting. Right Pipe would never hurt anyone, and he's not hurting anyone right now. You finish jotting down the idea that you've given him sticks that you've given him, and sticks that on his computer monitor, along with other similarly neon-coloured notes. Well, this is excellent. This excellent boy right here is my partner in the trying when it comes to my podcast. That's news to you. Seems rather counterproductive to mix work and hobbies, doesn't it? Now, I know you may be wondering, why have I perfectly set up here at work? Fear not, there is a perfectly reasonable explanation. If I want to rope a friend in from work as the week's special guest, all I have to do is open the door. Actually, you don't particularly care for the way he's eyeing you like he knows exactly how to ensnare you in a friend trap, nor the way he presses a button on his mic and clears something on his computer. He says, check, check, beam me up, check, check, and it sinks in that he's recording. Yippee. The only reason you don't stop is so that you can get a feel for his narrator style, how casual he is, see if he'd be the type to let secrets slip. Come on, Cecily, calm down. Good evening, ladies, guys, gentle clouds, and every raindrop in between. It's a healthy number of degrees above freezing, and I'm your host, Right Pipe Coldan. To your surprise, there is a change in demeanour. Yes, he's still smiling far more than anyone else in the room is, but his voice softens somewhat. Maybe I should soften my voice then. Unfortunately, it gives you pretty much no new information, so you're stuck listening to an episode of Right Pipe dialogue for now. We've got a real mind tickler that'll leave your imaginations in knots to start off. One has 4 walk limbs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 on a corporate paid vacation. I'll let you stew on that because, as we always say, I should introduce the week's co-pilot. Cecily, care to give us a good old auto-bio? He beckons you closer with a hand and tilts the microphone towards you. All the memories of 7 sweep stage fright come flooding back. Oh, you and me both, sister. This isn't the same as your phone calls with your future employers, though. This is a jokester with a microphone. I would suggest you turn the microphone off before your radio show takes a turn for the uncooperative. I did not agree to this. We're also not on first-name basis. Let's get that clear while I'm setting the record straight, Mr. Coldan. Frankly, doesn't seem to be a live broadcast, since you imagine those take a little more to set up. You'd hate to embarrass this man in front of an audience. With a nod of understanding, he stops recording, though his keystrokes afterwards concern you. Don't tell me you're actually saving that. Let's just call that a little work in progress. Revisit that one some other time. In the meantime, perhaps try saying things without words instead of throwing me into the deep end of the talk show pool. Right Pipe seems happy enough to plug himself, pulling up a roll poster out of his desk drawer that is a suspiciously similar composition to one of the science fiction flyers strung up on his wall. He explains it like he's pitching it to an executive, which you find somewhat entertaining. He's just missing the oversized paper that he pulls back to reveal his storyboard and marketing research. Whether or not it's a good day is a podcast I run in my lot. Whether or not... fuck, I'm so sorry. Okay, I know what you're saying now. Whether or not it's a good day is a podcast I run in my off time. It stars me and a new co-pilot every episode where we talk about what else in an empty conversation, the weather. We've got a segment for Nito riddles, we talk about sci-fi, the occasional glad libs, but it's primarily weather talk. The Aztec riddle was a troll, by the way. It was a stretch. At least you can add almost start on an audio show to your resume. Ironic, the blade wielder hits the cutting room floor. And yeah. Well, we did not learn any important information from Rypite, but, you know, he's a fun guy. You're wasting your time, you think to yourself. You've gained nothing from this conversation. He's looking to you, silently asking what the problem seems to be. It's not his business, quite frankly. He's giving you a gentle look, like he's trying to sedate a frightened animal. Are you sure you're doing okay? You don't seem in tip-top shape to me. I'm fine. You only wasted precious time on a false hope, after all. Rypite doesn't look convinced. I didn't let you down, did I? Oh no, he's unbalding. No, Rypite! No! I didn't think you'd notice. Ouch, you see him recoil a bit, but you've managed to fight through it. You appreciate the resilience, you wouldn't want to draw attention to the bawling boss in his office. Sorry, it's just been a rocky start to a very high-stakes investigation. How old are you, if I may? 12 sweeps. I'll assume you're the same? I'm practically twice your age. I won't say I'm qualified to give you advice for management, but I certainly have some life lessons under my belt. Here's one on the house. The first pawn you move can spell your downfall from the very start. It doesn't matter how much you play the rest of the game if you begin poorly. The opening gambit sets the scene. You can't rewind that. All you can do is mend the damage before your throat is slit and you bleed to death a regretful husk. Not everyone can move ahead so blindly without thinking like some companies around here. A moment of silence hangs uncomfortably in the air as he tries to figure out what to say. You can see the words buried in his tongue, but different ones attempting to escape with no luck. You start to pack your papers and stand up, thoroughly spent from a few hours of learning how much of a goofball Ross can really be. I'll be seeing you. Actually, I'm gonna need you to wait just a second, miss. Excuse you? Oh. Oh, hello. Invisible man! As you turn around to follow him, you see him march over to the door, slamming his wheelie desk chair right in front of the door under the handle. He doesn't even prop the chair up to the doorknob to stop anyone else from coming in, or lock the wheels or anything. You do realize I can easily move that out of the way. I have people to talk to. Or if you just sneak past the gap he'd left behind, some very light furniture, because it's not entirely a snug fit, not traditionally en passant, but practically all the same. At first he doesn't respond, instead wiping all his created mind from his whiteboard. You have a puzzle to solve, and I've got 2 thumbs and also a puzzle to solve. I want to help, Cecily. I know we can work together and come up with an answer for these mysteries. I'm a creative director and a creative director. You want me to think, and I really, really want to do something. I don't know how I'd feel if I'd let you walk out of here without having done anything. That is somewhat important. You've written that the deadline is in 2 days. Please tell me you backed it all up somewhere. Nope, that was the only copy that existed, and now it's gone forever. Helping you is more important. Well, now I've negatively impacted your work schedule. I really should be going. Nonsense, we have a crook to catch. Oh god, I love Rypite. Jeez. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Pardon me. And so he gets to scribbling and scrolling and jotting down words and linking them with wavy lines. Let's just mark the key words. Okay, I really could have done a better voice for Rypite. I can't. He's underlining every word he writes. Don't figure he's letting you go until he thinks he's helped you. Oh well, you might as well save the measly 2 synapses it would take to note this down. He at least remembers everything you told him. He's a good listener. All the key notes are present. Unfortunately, he seems to procrastinate not 5 seconds after you mentally compliment him. What's with all these swirly clouds up the top? Not an attempt to recreate the scene of the snowy crime, I hope. There's a suspicious amount of delight he shows when you ask. Why, you can't have a synapse squall without clouds. What kind of storm would it be without clouds? Since we say on whether or not it's a good day, sometimes you need clouds. There isn't much you can count on, but you can always count on clouds being there, you know? Imagine it raining without knowing when or why. You'd get drenched and given at least 15 different viruses with no warning whatsoever. Oh yeah, Repeton Rain works a little different. Your eyes focus on the board for a moment. You hear Rypite excitedly trying to inspire you, but none of it sticks. You hear everything he says, but it brushes past you like wind in the grass. It's a nice sentiment for sure, but it doesn't give you answers. It's nothing but fluff. Surface level boon. Pardon me. Eventually he notices that you're not looking at him and joins you in reviewing the facts. The silence is clearly making you uncomfortable, but that might also be a sudden urge to make it up to you by clawing at his psyche. Never mind that he's eating into both his time and yours and his own volition. I appreciate the assistance for the record. You don't have to be doing this. Now I'm just cutting into your work time. You have to let me handle this. I'm qualified, just after a rocky start. No investigation is simple from start to finish, not with crimes this drastic. And yet, here you are. You try hard, I'll give you that. Just don't leave your employees hanging for too long. Don't worry about my job, they'll be fine. There's a time and place for us all, don't you know? You're getting a strong wave of deja vu. Recall, right by its inspirational slogan. This happened like half an hour ago, you don't need to bring this up again. I'm gonna start recalling every time someone says hello to you. Okay, move on. Oh. Right back goes to Squirrel, more Ow, my knee! Oh, I don't know if you heard that, my knee just cracked. Right back goes to Scribble, more possibilities down. You can't see past his body, so you're left waiting in suspense until he pulls away to present his new theories. No, they weren't frozen to death. It was intentional assassination. The cuts on the bodies prove as much. Plus, they were driving inside a vehicle where it snows considerably less. Fooey. The god squeaks as that notion is erased and replaced with another not 10 seconds later. They didn't turn on each other either. Who would have run off with the vial if all three were killed? With a tisk, he's putting one more idea on the line, and that's just a plot of a mystery novel released 4 sweeps ago. Yeah, he's talking about the character arc of one of the countless Brendan Fraser roles in the film adaptations. Is he serious? He looks serious. The plot of that book looks even worse scrawled on a whiteboard, but you decide to bite the bullet and pat him on the head. You know what? I'll let you know if we get a ransom note from a man with many skills from inside corporate. I sincerely promise. Aha! I knew it! It's always someone from inside the company. Who else would know what was inside that truck? You're the one who said that, but whatever. You bite your tongue as you drag the impromptu blockade he set up out of the way. You're eager to find some new leads, and even if it seems anticlimactic, you need some space. Oh, are we done? But of course, I've been infiltrated with many skills to catch after all. Thanks for your help. Try in earnest not to sound sarcastic, because then you'll probably be subjected to more randomly generated murder mystery plot twists and hurt feelings. It seems to work because Rypike catches and shakes your hand goodbye before you can escape, and tosses you his business card while he's at it. It's good to branch out if you need any help. Every branch comes with the same tree after all. Don't forget, I've got your back. You have no idea what the joke he's clearly hinting at is. He's winking and grinning and patting himself on the back for some reason. You thank him politely, yet sternly confirm that you're leaving. I don't get the joke. I still don't get the joke. You breathe out a sigh of relief when you finally step out of his office. You could do with a trip to the monster boiler yourself, seeing workers buy all that energy drink. But it's time for you to clock out. You've learned virtually nothing, but you suppose you have some new phone numbers for your bank. He apparently wrote down his soulmate's numbers on the back of the card too. In blue pen, it's more described as good at puzzles like this. Oh. So I'm wondering whether or not it's worth it to reach out to another detective before the reason his voice is inflected earlier dawns on you. Oh, we'll be seeing as Moriel eventually. I've got your back. Oh, I love Rypike. You flip the card over to its front again, and shove it carelessly into your pocket. See, I'm getting the lines mixed up. You're moving on to a new suspect. And that is Rypike's route. Not the end of Volume 1 yet. However, I'm going to take like a little break to catch my breath, so I will be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Didn't really take that long of a break, but I just want to get this done right now. Now we are going to speak to Sirage Feltry. Sirage Feltry, the obvious choice. According to your intel, she had a shipment of goods coming in on the very same truck that was carrying the Vivifier's blood. Not only that, but she's a fairly high-ranking middle manager for one of corporate social media enterprises' Scorp. Information is literally her business. Plus there's something else, something the allegation algorithms picked up which places her even more squarely in the suspect zone. Whispers of a murky past. You planned to meet at her office and deal with this quietly, but earlier today when you stopped by, the receptionist said that he hadn't seen her since before the weekend. Feltry hadn't turned up to work and hadn't buzzed ahead to explain why. Not so much as a sick note, not answering calls either. He offered to leave a message on your behalf, but you were out of the door before he could finish the sentence. Playing hard to get on the day after a heist? Might as well have handed in a confession note there and then. If the worst comes to the worst, you'll have to organise a search party. At the very least, you need to pick up some kind of trail. So now you've hit the streets and hit them good and hard. Like, you've tied the streets up for an interrogation and slapped them around a bit. Tell me where she is, you say, but they're not talking. You cut through one of the parks in the centre of the stronghold, making for your personal garage, while you download some more of Feltry's personal details to your overhead. You're walking briskly, pedestrians and plants, wildlife and wayfaring strangers blurring by as you concentrate on the task at hand. Your long coat starts to do that thing where it, billows out dramatically behind you and stuff. Not that it would occur to you, of course, but it looks cool as shit, and we're all very impressed. Oh, we are, trust me. Strolling couples part to let you through. Urban cornfowl scatter squabbling to the winds as at your approach. You take a recreational kick sphere to the head and you don't even care. The game is on. You have a Trollodex card up on the visor, ready to bounce it through the regulatory's internal systems, sick some grunts on this fugitive. You have orders aplenty, and boy do you love giving them. But then, as you round a corner, you've come to a sudden stop. It takes a moment for you to even realise why before your eyes refocus, looking past Feltry's card on the screen. On a park bench, a little ways off, is your suspect. You can't tell if she's awake or asleep, but either way she's clearly in a rough state. She's sprawled haphazardly over the seat, face down, arms and legs pointing in random directions as her business attire in utter disarray. Her hair is a mess of tangled black curls, one shoe is making its absence known, and her briefcase appears to have become lodged in a nearby garbage cylinder. It's a scene of perfect chaos. You feel your shoulders slump in disappointment. This has to be the shortest game of Purr Beast and Squeak Rodent you've ever had, in all the long sweeps of your career. And here you were, getting into the swing of things. The very least you could have done is made an effort. But maybe the scene is just a little too perfect. Too pristine in its panic, implausibly inventive in its incongruity. Just seriously and altogether too batshit. Could it all be part of some elaborate ruse to lull you into a false sense of security? There definitely seem worded strategies for avoiding capture. If she's trying to throw you off for a loop, it won't work. You don't jump for chump change. Come on, you're overthinking things, Cecily. You approach with caution. Oh, I thought I heard someone then. You approach with caution. No sudden sounds, moves, or anything else. You're the polar opposite of suddenness in every respect. Your advance is slow that one of the cornfowl from earlier lazily flies down and, with complete lack of abruptness, perches on your left horn. Hatchie mistook you for an unusually fast-moving foliage. Any glacial attempts to swat the plumed pest away are futile. Your sluggish wafts are a mere caress to the indifferent animal. Just how uncertain you're being. Suddenly a phone rings. Motherfuck! I'm not... okay. Pretty lady. The slumped figure immediately springs to life at the noise, flailing wildly for a few moments. I swear, I'm just adding in words. I'm just, trying to predict the sentence. The sentence hadn't even started yet. Before toppling sideways off the seat with a loud crash. You brace ready for her to make a run for it, but instead she stands bolt upright and starts to contort every which way in a desperate hunt for her mobile. Your hand comes up to her and... oh, so that's where her other shoe was. Hello? Hello? She near bellows down her smart casual phone before realising the mistake, then she throws her hands up in frustration, the boot over her shoulder. It lands in a tar pond a short distance away. Before she can find the real thing, the ringtone stops in a matter of which could only be described as spontaneous. Oh, you've just got to be shitting me. Oh. She looks all around now, starting to collect her scattered belongings. She picks up a few leaves out of her hair before turning to see her shoe slowly disappear into the black sludge. Fuck! She doesn't seem to be the least bit aware that you're here. Oh yeah, I'm somewhat of a voice actor, in case you couldn't tell already. A bit late to say that now. You just give one of your signature ahems, tried and tested enough through suites of stoic arrivals. A cough could have announced royalty. Achoo! What? The plan blows with your face a remarkable literality. Your allergies are having none of that shit. It's thanks to your flighty friend who took off in all the ruckus. It's not the first time a bird has left you. Go ahead, fly away, you feathered fuck. But just remember, settling at your par and never forgets. Help me. I need a drink. Oh yeah, her theme's pretty jazzy. Trust me, there's one more that's more jazzy than this. Like you just said, you're literally incapable of forgetting anything, and you already did the chase, if you recall. It's what got you here in the first place. Speaking of recalling, if you hadn't already done so, now would be a good time to recall some salient facts about the suspect. You know, the suspect, the woman who's by far the best lead you have in the case so far, the one who probably wheeled around in a surprise when she honked to high heaven just out of nowhere just now. Quickly, she might get away. Fuck that. You scour your think pad for anything else you might have got on her, but something that gives you an advantage. For something that gives you an advantage. Fortunately, you don't have enough time to dig. You don't have enough time to dig too deep. There's another reason this girl is so high on your hit list. Besides her direct connection to the scene of the triple murder burglary. Burglary? Note to self. Try that one out sometime. You remember several sweeps ago that there was a notorious group of vagabonds who made their business breaking into pre-Renaissance ruins and plundering them of their treasures. Mostly they were after religious artifacts, but quite a large number of gems and like were also made off with. Practically worthless in this day and age, though there are still some who put a price on prettiness. In any case, this gang was getting to be quite a problem for corporate, since so many of their interests are also tied up with the antiquarian. But for magnanimous reasons, of course. You've been hot on their wax stump for a few weeks when the trailer went cold. Real cold. Like totally fucking freezing, in fact. It was right in the middle of the northern wastes when you lost them. From what you managed to piece together afterwards, something happened to the group that caused them to disband. You never found out why. Whatever the reason, the robbery stopped, and that was good enough. And you can read Thaumatrope to find that out. Even though she literally tells us in like 10 minutes. Sirage ended up on the corporate payroll a short time afterward, along with her mate Sprit. Just some blue guy who you may or may not have talked to already. Initiate interrogation immediately. Anyway, that's quite enough tomfoolery for one investigation. Ready to get this thing back on track without any more shenanigans. From here on out, it's only business. You're quite certain that nothing else outlandish and stupid will happen. In fact, you put money on it. That's just how serious you're being. After months, no, minutes of searching, the girl you've been hunting down is finally within sight. You're about to blow this case wide open, you can feel it. You make your way over. Sirage Feltry, I presume you know who I am. She doesn't respond. I need to ask you a few questions regarding an ongoing investigation. Your cooperation is as appreciated as it is mandatory. Still nothing. She's staring blankly at you, swaying a bit on her unbalanced feet. Your silence would save you, Feltry. I know of your involvement in this case. You may have given us a slip initially, but now I see the boot is on the other foot. You made a rookie mistake when you decided to get some beauty sleep in a public park. I'm still not sure what kind of tactic that was supposed to be. Frankly, it's been the least engaging pursuit I've ever had the misfortune of undertaking. I didn't even get to order a driver to chase down a cab or anything. You've let us all down, Feltry, so start talking. Not a peep. Her eyes are almost pointing in the opposite direction for how unfocused she is right now. The swaying is getting more apparent. Her mouth is open a little, but she's making no effort to talk at all. She's drooling a bit? Yeah, she's just asleep at this point. How did she manage to do that in the brief few seconds before you made your way over? It's also kind of amazing how she's managed to stay upright like that, truth be told. It doesn't last much longer, though. You catch her as she topples over, all semblance of grace lost in the woozy black ichor of sleep, with a solitary shoe sinking slowly beneath the waves. You've got to start working on your metaphors. What sort of introspective protagonist are you even supposed to be without a good grasp of this kind of thing? Hardly one worth those seasoning minerals. The suspect is now cradled in your arms, snoring gently. Despite losing her grip on the unconscious, she's somehow managing to hold tightly to her soda cup somehow. She turns her face into your chest a bit and begins rolling all over your lapel. Just full on rubbing that stuff in, like she's giving your coat a spit and polish with extra spit. It's completely unacceptable. This coat was a gift from someone a long time ago. It's irreplaceable, and worse than that, dry clean only. Oh. You need to question her, and there's no way she's coming back to your office in this state. There's only one thing for it. Her place is. In one motion, you grab her by the waist, lift her up and slink her over on one shoulder. You hook up her briefcase with the end of Proserpina's scabbard and swing that over the other. Go on. Then you start walking. I do so love a good walk. Oh, these backgrounds are so pretty. Especially this one, just like, the lighting just feels so moody. Receptionist wasn't all surprised to see you lug his superior in through the window entrance. He just handed you a spare key and waved you upstairs, almost bored. Would that be... what was his name? Philcus, I think? Maybe, I don't know. That was about half an hour ago now. Since then, you've been waiting in her office for her to wake up. You took the chance to get a good look at the place while she dozed. There's a lot of stuff here. A good amount of it is standard corporate office fare, but there's still lots of personality about the room. She's got an old pre-Renaissance style television in here, along with an enormous stack of old movies. Most of the films are thrillers, with a good deal of horror splat here and there. A pile of notes balanced precariously on top has a list of star ratings and some scrolled bits of analysis. Oh yeah, she's a critic. There's also a remarkable amount of gems scattered about, along with several of those little eyeglasses people use to look at them. You have a feeling there's a pun to be made there somehow. Looping back around to look at the other side, you notice a few scale replicas of the ancient Repetonian architectures. Nobody really knows what the original buildings were intended for. Each one is meticulously painted and constituted of hundreds of small pieces. No doubt about it, these pyramid schema are surely works of dedication and care. Ugh. Ow. Sounds like she's awake. Without really paying you any mind, she slowly starts going through some of the files on her desk, wincing from with every moment. No rest for the wicked, you guess. Okay, I'm gonna sit up more. I'm uncomfortable sitting like that. Her arms and hands are moving almost automatically, reaching for pens and papers without looking. She looks very tired despite having just 2 naps back to back. She sighs and looks over at you. Can I help you regulate your power? Or are you in my second best chair just getting to know each other? Oh, so it all looks like she did notice you after all. That's weird. Despite the greeting, she keeps her nose buried in what she's doing. At least introductions won't be necessary. She's already right where you need her. No need to play games anymore. I'll be brief, Feltry. You are currently the most credible suspect in an incident which has shaken the corporation to its foundations. 3 employees have been killed, and an irreplaceable item is missing, something which is in the wrong hands would spell disaster for this entire planet. You have a direct connection to the incident, as well as the position and potential to have leaked valuable information to anyone wishing to carry it out. Okay. Well, I don't really have the energy right now to process the fact that I'm apparently a murder suspect or whatever. Or to make a big stink about denying it, which would only make my head hurt worse. So let's just assume that I already did that in like a really passionate enough, but still decidedly innocent fashion, and carry like 2 people who know how to be professional. Regarding the incident... Ow. I already heard about it. Don't know anything specific, of course, since they don't really spill that stuff this far down the chain of command. Is this voice I'm doing okay? I don't think it's feminine enough. I don't know. I know enough to be sure that it has nothing to do with me, at least. But if you're certain you need to talk about me anyway, then we might as well get it over with. Sirage's shipment. I'm pretty sure you have nothing to do with this incident, Feltry. You exited a shipment, one that was due to arrive on the same convoy that ended up in the northern wastes with 3 personnel dead. One should be specifically rescheduled in order to avoid detection by parties with ulterior motives. That's about as direct a connection as it gets. Wait, you think I knew about the convoy? Listen, all I did was order some new sparkulations on the internet and pay for the shipping. An order which, incidentally, has no inkling of arriving anytime soon. I don't have access to any of that kind of information, and even if I did, I have absolutely no fucking clue about whatever important stuff you high-ups were smuggling around on it. You're telling me that this is the first I've heard of it. So good job keeping that a secret, Chief Regulator. She says that like an insult. You suppose for certain kinds of people it might as well be one. And while we're at it, if this thing is really so hells of dangerous, then what in all mother's name were you people thinking about transporting it through a corporate convoy? Those things are all kinds of unreliable. It's about the worst way you could think of to try and sneak something so valuable around. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Weekend whereabouts. Okay, this voice is not as good as the last one I did. Let's establish alibi then, if you even have one. How do we know that you couldn't have carried this out yourself? I don't have any record of your location since you clocked out at the end of last week. Or say that you didn't take a little trip to the northern wastes for a few days. I mean, you understand that those words you're saying, right, are actually ridiculous, right? First of all, how could anyone take a trip to the wastes just like that on a whim? It didn't stop you, you think to yourself. But then again, if you really suspected her of doing the same, it would require you to think her as competent as you. You don't know what you'd go that far. I mean, yeah, sure, it'd be one thing if you had an organized group or something. But that place is dangerous. Come on. Ow. You won't catch me there again in a million sweeps. Anyways, about the weekend. I was just spending some calling time with a friend. An old vibing buddy from way back. Looks like you're barely even a teen sweet-wise, right? Is there even a way of her life of any of that to constitute as a way back when? Or for that matter, for old imbibing friends to be considered old? Just wait till she hits those 20s, then she'll understand. She's not even 20? Really? We're just two old good old pals hanging out watching some dumb cartoons. Ingesting liquids of varying toxicities. You know, nothing fancy. Remember, it must have been all the same as it went down, because I got a call from the freight tracking people, saying my delivery had been postponed indefinitely. And right about after that, I had the hex brain down my neck about data leak from Scorp or some bullshit like that. Worst weekend in sweeps. Your regulatory sense twinged for a moment. Some of the younger corporate employees have some interesting vernacular for their superiors. The hex refers to a certain jade-willed auxiliatrix. It's something supposed to be a pun on a name, and something else which you don't understand. You ever managed to find out what they call you back when your back is turned, though? You mentioned a friend. I presume you're positive they could recently corroborate your story. Yeah. He's with technical for the corporate too, so you'll probably be hitting him up later anyway. Or don't actually hit him, or I'll kill you. Yes, he is. I think he's in the most recent volume. Yeah, he is. Your sword hand twitches. Did she just threaten her chief regulator during an interrogation? Breathtaking insubordination. The temerity of this fucker knows no bounds. But her gaze softens when she spices to a tired smile. Just kidding. Oh, she's got a bow, rye-pipe coloured. You've got some explaining to do, Feltry. I'm sure you can appreciate that. As for the office on such a crucial day as this, a day still stained in corporate blood, slowly defrosting though it may be. If you weren't already directly connected to the scene of the incident, I doubt your credibility would come under any harsher scrutiny. What in Gamparia's name were you doing? Sleeping during corporate hours? There could be no worse transgression. If you weren't a triple burglary suspect, that is. Instantly, I'm trying that word out as part of corporation's new efficiency drive. Already the contract has saved me a non-zero amount of my time today. Was it enough to offset the time you just wasted explaining it to me? Or was the headache it caused? Ugh. Didn't think so. Look, I just got a bit lost on the way to work today is all. I just overdid it a little bit over the weekend. Let things get to me a bit too much and ended up doing something stupid. Again. Fuck, I have so much work to do. I have enough fires on my own to stamp out to be dealing with you bigwigs. She takes a big swig of the boiled soda on her desk as she says this. At least you presume it's soda, a fact which comes easily enough from the evidence at hand, mainly that it is in a soda cup. You know, one of those things with removable plastic lids and the little sleeves that they put around them to stop the hot liquid from scalding you or whatever. Time was, getting second-degree burns from your pre-work pop was considered best practice for corporate hand. We'll have the soft skin avoidance, pardon me, of bodily harm and blisters. How things have changed. While you've been talking, she's continued diligently working through the mound of paperwork strewn about. Like she's used to long hours of blitzing through this stuff, mindless of any distractions. All the while she's been taking sips from the soda cup that somehow made it through it all mayhem earlier, intact and unspilled. This woman knows how to hold on to a drink, that's for sure. This interrogation is not... It's not nearly as insightful as you were hoping. Certainly not for someone the allegation algorithms had down as a dead Kurt. All the while she's been taking... clicked the wrong bit. You never did like having a computer tell you what to think. She's definitely hiding something, that much is clear. If this were a different kind of sleuthing game, perhaps there would be a potential visual metaphor here that you could grapple with. I mean some giant chains and padlocks or something else to symbolise the fact that, yes, this is a character with secrets to hide. That would have been nice. But no, you've just got your suspicions as usual. Well, that's not quite right. You have something else on her, after all. Maybe it's about time you used it. Your ace in the sleeve. Rogue recollections. Alright, Feltry, I'll play fair as I always do. There's another reason I'm sitting here talking to you today. Other implication that places you close to heart of this incident, and a blight on your business credentials. There's something that tells me that it's the reason why you're more familiar with the wastes than you might care to admit, let alone the corporate logistic detail. The movement of her pen slows, just a bit. Through weary eyes, she's paying you more attention now than ever before, while still affecting an air of disinterest, trying to hide in plain sight. No, she's looking at us. A few suits ago, I was tasked with breaking up a ring of artifact smugglers. People couldn't let the past lie, so to speak. They're becoming our historians quite the headache. I'm sure you can sympathise, though no telling whether an archaeological site would still be intact from one week to the next. Many and varied particulars of the pilfering. Historical artworks, ancient technology, gems. You've stopped writing completely now. You've made your move. Now time to press the advantage. It pains me to admit it, but that's one case I never managed to take to the end game. Fortunately, the result was still the same. The group disbanded and hasn't made an appearance since. Fortunately for them, I mean. It was around the same time that you joined us here at the corporation, I recall correctly. You always recall correctly. Now, Sirage Feltree, the game is up. Start talking. She's burning holes into the floor with her gaze. Oh no, wait, this might actually be real scorch marks from down there with some kind of chemical spill. Your mistake. Feltree, maybe I haven't made your position here clear. I'm the last chance you have in this situation. If you could explain yourself to me, as clear as the crystals which you have haphazardly strewn about your office, or you are done here. Done in this company, done in this stronghold. What I've seen here today would be enough to have you thrown out for contempt of corporate alone. Talk! Now! You don't like to raise your voice. Usually you settle for just your sword. Sirage curls inwards a bit at the sound, defensively, avoiding your eyes. She looks pretty shaken at this point. Yeah. That was us. Nothing much I can really say about it other than that. I left that life behind. Left it buried in the snow and the sand. It was getting too much. I didn't see much of a future in rummaging through shit from the past, funnily enough. At some point I just turned to the guys and said to them, I can't do this anymore. So I stopped. The worst part is that it was fun, you know. Going where we pleased and taking what we liked, because nobody would miss it at the end of the day. Or so we would have thought, at least. I was good at it. Where have you heard that one before? But yeah, add to that the fact that I had people I needed to look after and provide a better life for. I was just the obvious choice once I stopped for 2 seconds and thought about it. So, we ended up at corporate together. Pite and me. She clears her throat to hide the fact that her voice is cracking a bit. Just a bit. And I worked hard. Some skills that come in handy being a teenage delinquent transfer pretty well to being a business person, as it turns out. So now this is what I'm good at, I guess. But that doesn't make it easy. If anything, it's the opposite. I'm good at it, and so people expect good things from me all the fucking time. Ow. And I'm constantly sifting through everything, trying to make sense of it all for others and for myself. Always in the middle of things. Always trying to live up to my and others' expectations. And the older I get, the more I found out how actually and completely fucked we all are. How little I'm really capable of doing something, even in the position that I managed to build up to. How incompetent I really am at doing even if everyone around me is looking to me to sort shit out for them. Sometimes I just feel tired. She slumps down a little ways in her chair. For as perceptive as you, sometimes you struggle a lot with understanding others' expressions, but you don't have time to try hard with her face now. She's utterly exhausted, whether it's from your questioning or the effort of recalling something that clearly takes a lot out of her. You forget it's not easy for some people. While she was talking, despite all the nonsense it took for you to get here, you couldn't help but think how familiar her story sounded. How many times you heard it's like in your time here. You make a judgment call. She's not the one you're looking for. At this point, you don't really care about your case what your case file says. This isn't someone you should be brutalizing just to get at the truth. Sometimes the truth just isn't that important. And if we're talking about checkered pasts, then you're nobody to talk. There are things in your lifetime that make her story just sound like a walk in the park, or maybe just a nap on the bench. Are you really going to dig up her past when she walked away from doing the same all those sweeps ago? So what? Maybe she has a few skeletons in her closet. At least they aren't literal. Probably. You know what? You're not going to ask. I need another sip. That cup is that heavy, I'm in danger of dropping it. Pardon me. She's already back to her paperwork. Anyway, normally I only bring that sort of stuff if people complete a very specific set of requirements. I don't trust her easily regulate, and I sure don't want you to think I trust you in that way, just because you forced it out when I was feeling down. It feels kind of cheap to just throw it out there like that. If I guess that is the point of an interrogation. I had a rule back in the day when I organized those chumps. If anyone wanted something out of me with no strings attached, I'd give them an offer. A challenge. You perk up a bit of this. Your skills haven't really been tested all that much today, truth be told, and you love a challenge. Curiosity gets the better of you. And what was that? Oh, was that the tie again? She smirks, almost wistfully. Tell a soft stomach stronghold like yourself could handle it. But for old time's sake, I guess I could let you in on it. Did she say stomach? She stops writing and then begins to pull a huge assortment of items out from her jacket pocket and off her desk. Snacks, sweets, some ticket stubs, stationery. You watch with mounting horror as one by one she tosses them all into the now empty soda cup she's holding, using one of those shitty cardboard stirrers to mash the gruesome slurry together. This goes on for a full minute at least. At one point she retrieves a near full bottle of black ink and all Mother knows where and pours the whole thing in. The stinging scent that hits your nostrils tells you that it wasn't just ink in that bottle either. Oh god. Maybe you're getting too old for this. Whatever happened to drowning your office woes in honest, good liquor, like a troll with normal, healthy work-life dysfunctions? She finishes mixing her cursed cocktail and slams it down on the desk. The quasi-gelatinous ooze wobbles dangerously inside the cup, threatening to spill over onto the desk and probably melt right through. But not through the plastic cup, though. They've recently started making them out of recycled zip ties. The most durable zip ties. Most durable stuff in the universe. I had to use them in my last job. Hey, yeah, I had a job, remember? Really? Yeah. Would you believe it? Okay, so here's how it worked. Anyone in our group could ask me a question, no matter how out there, and I'd give them a straight answer. All they had to do in return was put their money where their mouth is. Or I guess their mouth where their mouth is actually. They had to drink one of my special brews. I swear, my accent for Sirage has been fluctuating with each line. This is just insanity. Why would anyone degrade themselves to that extent just to get some paltry bits of information? You'd have some pretty stern words to say to any such individual, that's for sure. They must have all been out of their own damn think pans. Or maybe just very dedicated. Perhaps this is for a test of respect than anything. A way for both parties to demonstrate that they take each other seriously. Pardon me. Sirage leans forward for a bit, rummaging behind her desk for something. I'm probably going to cook myself a tea after this. I'm a bit hungry. She pulls out a bottle of bright blue liquid that comes suspiciously like cleaning fluid all above a glass. You catch a glimpse of the label and the container. Cyanide. The hard surfactant of choice. Anyway, you can take it or leave it, Chief. She lets out a tumbler full of the fluorescent blue stuff and lounges back in her chair. I honestly don't care at this point. You look down at the cup in front of you. You could just walk out of here right now. Your job is done. You don't know why you've really hung out around here this long already. You don't have to go through with this. But then again, what more could one more bit of ridiculous hurt after the nonsense you've gone through today? Maybe that recreational awfulness could do you some good. It's not like it hasn't worked before. You gaze into the murky depths of the malodorous monstrosity. It seems to gaze back. A loud gargling noise comes from somewhere in Feltry's direction. Ugh, this shit tastes fucking awful. She pours herself another. And that, my friends, is Snowbound Blood Volume 2. So I record every Friday because that's when my 3 siblings are away from home to go to my dad's, and my mum's usually out as well. So next week we are going to be. I'll probably do We are going to Volume 3 of Growth, Economic and Agricultural, and Volume 4 of Stagecraft and Survival, where we will meet at least 2 of my favourite characters. Which ones I will not say yet. Big gun. But yeah, that is Snowbound Blood, a Vastera story for this week, prologue and volume. So, if you liked it, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm sorry, I can't say that seriously. But yeah, if you like listening to a British artist read, feel free to watch some of my other videos that I may make, or watch me play my own game, etc. Follow me on Twitter, I guess. You don't have to. I don't say much, honestly. I can never think of like something funny to tweet like all y'all can. But yeah, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.